Welcome to this edition of Weather to Watch. Winter has not let go by any stretch of the imagination. Plenty of cold air, feeding plenty of snowstorms. We'll have all the details. Huge snowstorms taking shape. I meant to put plural in there because there's one ongoing right now and another one to take shape within 24 hours of this recording. A wide area of excessive rainfall is also still forecast for much of the southeast, with already a few flood watches up. Arctic cold continues to grip the northern U.S., feeding these snowstorms, and there are some severe weather possibilities in the deep south. 2 days, actually, in the forecast. Well, here's a look at the entire U.S. This is the IR satellite instead of the visible. It shows, infers cloud top by temperature, and you can see this is a telltale huge stream of moisture. The northern cap of it definitely snow, but you can see by the yellows and the oranges, those are higher cloud tops, which generally can be inferred to be a little bit more active, like sort of a convective type of cloud that is capable of producing heavier precipitation. So there's a winter end to this, and definitely a rain and thunderstorm end to this as well. If we take a look at the 500 millibar overlaid on top of that, we still have a very active pattern across all of the lower 48. This storm right here is digging. So this right here is the next snowstorm that will affect the central plains. And this one right here is the one we've just been talking about. And we're going to focus on both of these here during this recording. Here's a look at the radar. What you're seeing here is the radar over the east central United States, and then the little symbols are storm reports, basically. And if they're bluish, those are all snow reports. So we'll just take a sampling there. There's a 10.5-inch snowfall right on the border between Virginia and West Virginia. It said the city, but I made it go away. Lighter totals, of course, up in Maryland still, where it's still 1.5 inches up there. And this storm is one of two, and we also have a couple of ice reports. There's some freezing rain down there, right on the border of North Carolina and Virginia, to about a third of an inch. Then if we move over, we see a lot of heavy rain down here in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, up into Tennessee. And we don't see any real hints yet. A little bit of light snow breaking out in Nebraska and Iowa right now. That's just a harbinger of the snow that will be breaking out in less than 24 hours across much of this region. That's storm number 2. Here's a look at the high-resolution model. We're taking a look at precipitation type over the next 18 hours or so, and what I'll do is just kind of loop this here. Just grab the control and just kind of move it forward here. You can see the blue is snow. You have sleet indicated by purple, and then we have some freezing rain patches in there as well, and that's almost all of that is concentrated in Virginia, over into Delaware and parts of Maryland too. The snow spreading in the northern boundary of it, just on New York City, basically there, southern Pennsylvania, about cutting New Jersey in half. And then we have another area of freezing rain developing in Virginia. The time on that is approaching tomorrow morning. Actually, that's about 6 a.m. right there. So that's another significant icing possibility for Virginia. And with capped off with snow, of course, a lot of rain. You'll notice there's a lot of rain moving in from the southwest, and move all the way to the end there. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about. There's an ongoing heavy rain potential down in this area here, but we'll have a slide that kind of details that here in just a second. Well, let's look at the storm in the east, central, and northeastern U.S. This is what the National Weather Service has laid down for snow totals, and we're seeing very healthy amounts here, exceeding a half foot all through this area of Virginia, going offshore of Delaware, surrounded by a good 1 to 4 or 5 inch totals in Pennsylvania, as far south as Virginia. And you can already start, this is in the next 48 hours, you can already see over here that next snowstorm started to move into Chicago. By the way, that's a forecast of more than a half foot, 7-8 inch totals up there, because I think on the next one I just chose the sectors. I think Chicago's left out, so you want to make sure you get that in your notebook, that they're looking at over a half foot of snow there. There's also an ice component to this storm, and this looks pretty bad. So ice is forecast to accumulate here in especially western and southwestern Virginia, maybe over a half inch or maybe an inch of ice in some areas. This is the NAMS idea. It's a forecast model, not a human forecast. So it might be a little overstated, but nevertheless, ice is still an issue with this storm. And in fact, the advisories really kind of stop short of the ice storm warning, is really just in the mountains of Virginia and West Virginia. But there is a winter storm warning that's all of this area that has this kind of shading right here. So that's very interesting. And of course, winter weather advisories for the snow moving, lighter snow moving through New York. And again, you can see the edge of those advisories on storm number 2, and I'll show you that in greater detail here in just a minute. Now we're going to take a look at this second storm. Same model, same 18-hour projection here. We'll grab the cursor and move forward here. So this is looking at Kansas and Missouri, sort of center screen, and you can see how light snow develops here. This time here is about midnight tonight, and it starts to really break out in earnest in Kansas. And notice there is a band of, again, freezing precipitation. That's the orange color with green south of that. That actually moves into southern Missouri. And mixed with sleet, that's the purple, but the heavier snow just on the northern edge of that. So this is a pretty good snow, and this is just one model's opinion. We'll look at some snow totals here in a minute, but this moves through the heart of Missouri, really, and especially hits central and northern Missouri, at least according to this model. I'll show you where all the advisories are here in a minute and what the projected snow totals are, but that gets us through the next 18 hours, and that stops there to Wednesday morning about 9 a.m. But you can see the bulk of the heavier snow continues to move and will continue to move on into Illinois as Wednesday unfolds. Turning our attention back out west, here's that storm we've been talking about for days now. This is the National Weather Service's idea of snow totals. And if you look through portions of northern Missouri, northern Kansas, you're looking at 8, 9, 10-inch totals are possible in all this area here, stretching from northern Kansas all the way up to Chicago, as I indicated, with lesser snows right down to the south of that. There's an interface always in storms like this where there's a deeper moisture right here combined with the intensity of the storm itself. So I think there might be some evidence that maybe the storm might lay down snow a little bit more to the south than indicated there in Missouri. And I've said this before, I live here, so I'm watching that with a little more interest. Also watching this with a little more interest. This is the NAMS ice total. Now, it's not really out of hand in most areas, but if you see a shading that goes to this kind of a darker color here and here, that's anywhere between, let's say, 1/10 of an inch and almost a 1/2 inch of ice accumulation. So that's a possibility as well. And needless to say, a winter storm warning is in effect for all this area where we showed you the heavy snows. It hasn't been extended yet to all this area, but I'm very sure Chicago will be under a winter storm warning here, if not now already by later on tonight, and certainly no later than tomorrow morning with winter weather advisories, as they often are, surrounding the core of the heavier storms. We have a severe weather outlook for the core of southern and central Mississippi, parts of Alabama. This is for tomorrow, Wednesday. Small portion around Baton Rouge of Louisiana there. Slight risk. They may up this. There's a tornado threat with this as well. I'll talk about that here in just a second. And then if we go through to Saturday, looking way ahead, there's another area setting up that looks pretty good for severe weather. Now that the confidence goes down as you know with time going out. I did want to take a look at this SIPS. This is a kind of a way of looking at severe weather that does pattern matching. So if you look at tomorrow, Wednesday, there's a pretty good pattern match going on here. I'm going to change my pen color to black with a 10% chance. And this is just 24-hour probability of a tornado within 110 kilometer or, roughly about half that 50-mile area right through there. So right where they had that slight risk is where the tornado threat's highest tomorrow and tomorrow night, Wednesday and Wednesday night. And then if we advance this, just use the same logic for Saturday, there's another area right there that is piquing attention, and there could be a tornado risk with that as well. This time of year to have tornadoes along the Gulf Coast is actually right in line with climatology, right? Where tornado frequency actually is at its highest in February. So this is QPF, total precipitation, again, melted down if it happens to be in the form of ice or snow, but we're still looking at a large area here. So this is a 5-inch maximum area here, Nashville, Tupelo, north of Birmingham, right in the Atlanta area, just off to the east of Shreveport, forecasting these amounts. Now this is a total Tuesday through Saturday, so it accounts for several rounds of rain, including rain that's going on in these areas right now. So there were some 7-inch totals in there. I think I still see them right here. And so this is a potent weather system. These weather systems are training rain over the same area again and again, so that's allowing it to rack up. So the only saving grace to that is it does allow for the runoff to take effect over a couple of days, but still it's a lot of rain to fall in one place. Well, these snowstorms are feeding off of Arctic air. Here's the National Weather Service compilation of highs. These are all below zero readings here in the northern plains on Wednesday, with the freezing line right where it changes from green to blue. So that's obviously having a very high impact on these storms and enabling them to be winter. And there's also, as you saw, a rain component to these too. The cold air just settles in across Minnesota and Iowa tomorrow or Thursday, with highs only in the single digits in that part of the world. And then it kind of reinforces itself on Friday across the northern plains there, with temperatures barely above zero in North Dakota. And finally on Saturday, that spreads a little bit more. In fact, we have some sub-zero highs in North Dakota and single digits all the way down almost to Des Moines and covering Iowa and a pretty good chunk of Wisconsin as well. And I wanted to show you that the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, this is Monday through Friday of next week, is showing a large area below normal temperature. So winter has not let go by any stretch of the imagination. And the precipitation is forecast to be slightly above normal. So this implies almost kind of a clipper system where lows are tracking like this and then going along the Gulf Coast. Well, that was a mouthful today. Lots of active weather. It looks like more to come, too. So thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. Another one comes out in 2 days. Like and subscribe if you think of it, and we'll see you in the next video.